Hey there, welcome back to another live stream. This time around, it is Talking Cinema Redux. So I'm going to be essentially doing a regular episode Talking Cinema, but live. Might have some people dropping by, might not. Either way, I'm going to keep going. Just going to wait a little bit before I dive into discussing the upcoming movie trailers and stuff like that, or some of the movie news until there's a few more people who drop by. Hey there, Alter Ego Bro. Hello, Jedizilla. Hello, Neopunk. Um, so yeah. Um, Also, probably before I start, I'll just show you a few things that I got. I got these from Ronin Flicks. They had a sale recently, and so I decided to get pick up some more extra additions to the collection. So we have Becky, which is this is the special edition from Ronin Flicks of the slipcover. Remember not minding this movie? It was fun. Definitely wanted to add it to my collection, especially after seeing the trailer for the sequel, which is coming out um, this year, which that looks pretty crazy too. And I also got this for the slasher collection, Shredder. I've never actually seen this movie, but I wanted to add it to the collection. I think it's a pretty cool looking slipcover too. Um, hey there, Brett. Do I plan to see The Flash? No, because this week I'm pretty much going to be working most of the week. Like this is my only day off from work, so I'm definitely not going to go see that this week. Maybe in the future. I still am not so sure if I want to see it in the theater yet or not. Opera, I haven't seen it in a while, but I thought it was pretty good. Um, hey Matt, it's okay, no worries, no worries at all, no worries at all, man. Have a good dinner. Have a good night. I would maybe do a later stream. I just can't. I got other stuff I got to do tonight, so I wanted to do the stream a little bit earlier. Yeah, if you call me Becky one more time, six pack, I'm gonna pop your tops, all six of them. Different movie, but definitely a good one. Um, Going back to opera, yeah, Jedi. I haven't seen that in a long time, so I can't really say a whole lot about it. Am I gonna see Dial of Destiny? Yeah, I probably am gonna go see that. I think it's gonna suck, but I am probably gonna see it. Um, uh, hey Sage, show us the Oppo. I don't I'd have to move my webcam, and I don't really want to do that right now. And maybe I could do another video, maybe a video in the future showing it or something like that. Maybe record some stuff on my phone. But I can't show it right now. Like I don't think the USB cable stretches far enough. Um, hey there. Okay, Matt. How did I first see Deep Rising? Uh, I think I think it might have been a rental or on TV. I definitely saw it on DVD. And I remember wanting to see it because it was one of the films that was a part of the 101 most unheralded horror films book by Fangoria. So that is why it was always on my radar, and I enjoyed it. I definitely did have fun with it the first time around that I saw it. Um, let's see here. Do I like Ray McKay? I don't. I'm actually not. I'm not very familiar with that actor, so I don't know what to say about that. My thoughts on Deadpool 3 getting moved up from November to May. I don't mind that because it comes out around my birthday, so it's like okay. it's pushed up to my birthday. That's the day after my birthday. That's definitely not it's not a bad thing for me. I'll wait. Yeah, it does suck about treat. Maybe a good driver. Most people are not. Yeah, it sound because I read up what happened, and that just makes it all the more tragic and sad. Is because it wasn't like a disease that took his life or anything. It was an accident involving a motor vehicle, and it seems like he was going one way, but then the other person was going another, and it was just one of those tragic accidents, which sucks. Um, yeah, I'm doing all right, doing okay. Now, I'm gonna start the talking cinema portion a little bit. I'll get to some more questions a little bit later, but I'm gonna start talking about some trailers. Saw the trailer for Hidden Strike, the new Jackie Chan, John Cena action movie that's coming out from the director of Expendables 4. I'm like, why is that a good thing? Why is that legitimately a good thing that the director of Expendables 4 is directing this new one? Because Expendables 4 hasn't even come out yet. Like, how often does that happen where you're like, from the director of a movie that hasn't even come out yet, here's this other movie that they directed. But yeah, it's Hidden Strike. The the film looks unbelievably dirt cheap. Bad CGI, bad green screen. The titles alone look like shit that somebody made with um Premiere Pro and just the basic title settings. The the whole stuff with Jackie Chan and John Cena, it's just not a good pairing. They have no chemistry. It's really bad when you see Jackie Chan. The first time you see him in the trailer, he's talking to John Cena and telling him to slowly put something in a hole. So you got to be slow and then put it in the hole. And I'm like, what hole are you talking about? Are you talking about the butthole or what? I've never heard anybody talk about putting a seatbelt on like that. You got to be slow and then put it in the hole. It's terrible, embarrassing. Yeah, how come Stallone dropped out of that film? Is that the same film that he dropped out of? I mean, if this is the script, I think that was probably a good idea. I I think that was a good call for um for Stallone to drop out. But yeah, that looks terrible. What also looks terrible is Expendable 4 or Expendables, which I, I'm surprised they haven't made an Expendables parody called The Affordables at this point. Hey, this is all that we could afford. We couldn't afford the Expendables. We could just get the Affordables. Do I think the Expendables 4 will suck? Absolutely. That trailer was terrible. Absolute trash. Looked really bad. I don't know what was going on with the start of the trailer with Megan Fox and Jason Statham. It looked like the start of a romantic comedy starring the two or a rom-com thriller. Wrong vibe, wrong tone. I felt like I was getting pranked. And then you see the rest of the trailer and then it really doesn't get any better. Bad green screen, bad CGI. You got 50 Cent, who isn't worth 50 cents at all when it comes to seeing him act. The stuff with Dolph Lundgren is just insulting and sad. Once again, this character that he's playing is turned into a joke. Oh, now the joke is that he's old and he can't see. Uh, then you have some interesting new additions, like the guy from the raid, but it seems like they're being wasted. And Stallone's in it, but he's probably not going to be in it that much at all. So, yeah, it looks really bad. Like, and I thought Expendables 3 was bad, and this looks so much worse. So much worse. Leprechaun is coming back. Come on. Why? Why? Why are we getting more Leprechaun movies? Didn't they already remake that film already with like what's his name? Hornswoggle from WWE? I think they already remade that movie. They're gonna do it again? Yeah, it looked fucking awful. Bad. Really, really bad. Um yeah, Neil Pope, that's true. Blow Up Doll does have more personality than Cena. Although I gotta be honest, Cena, I thought he had a decent amount of charisma in the movie Blockers, but that's like the only time I've seen him have any charisma in a movie. Do I have Steam? Actually, I do. You know, I've always thought about like trying some games more, but it just honestly is something where it just takes time. And I don't have a lot of it. Thoughts on the first 3 Michael Bay Transformers movies and Bumblebee? I actually haven't seen Bumblebee yet. I've heard some good things about it. I haven't seen the first 3 Transformers films in forever. Like it's been a long, long, long time. And I haven't even seen the other ones after that. Honestly, the Transformers films is a franchise I'm kind of eyeing to revisit like sometime either this month or next month. Maybe check out the new one because I do have some nostalgia for the first 3 because I saw them in the theater. But yeah, Expendables 4, yeah, just not needed, and it looks like a direct-to-video movie. Like, it doesn't look like it's that much different than Hidden Strike, which that's not gonna get a theatrical release. There's a new trailer for TMNT Mutant Mayhem. Saw that as well. Speaking of classic, nostalgic franchises, man, uh, oof. That is one of those things where I'm very conflicted on Mutant Mayhem. Because on one hand, I do kind of like the fact that they're trying to do something a little different with the art style, even though in a lot of ways it is kind of a hand-me-down version of Spider-Verse. But they're still trying to do their own sort of thing with a different sort of grimier, grungier looking style. But I'm just not big into the whole teens or younger actors voicing the turtles. And I think Jackie Chan just seems like he's casted for name recognition alone and nothing else as Splinter. And you have all these other like famous actors who are doing little voiceover roles and little cameos. Ice Cube is playing the villain, a version of Baxter Stockman. And I'm like, I don't I'm just on the fence about it. Like I think it definitely could wind up being better than Turtles 3 or some or the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles movies, but that's not saying much at all. Neopunk, what do I think of Andy Garcia being part of Expendables 4? Doing it for a paycheck? Seems like that's a lot of the stuff that he's doing nowadays. He's just trying to do he's doing paycheck roles. Yeah, I forgot that it had 2 reboots already, and now they're gonna do a 3rd one. Yeah, I mean, they are definitely trying to go for Spider-Verse. 100%. Um, I'm just tired of kitty turtles. That's really my thing. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of TMNT for kids. I feel like Shredder and Turtles 2 babies. They're babies. uh and it's just something that I'm just done with. I'm just totally done with Donnie being just a stereotypical nerd with fucking nerdy glasses and all this other nonsense. It'd just be nice that they, actually provided something a little bit different. A little bit more of an edge to the Turtles, like what they provided, in the 1990 film. But no, Turtles are for kids. It's like silly adult. Turtles are for kids. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things where I probably won't see it in the theater, but like I wouldn't mind maybe checking it out sometime just to see what it's all about. I know one thing is for sure the April O'Neil that they're doing is not gonna really be anything that's gonna stand the test of time in my opinion in a positive way because it just feels like they are butchering the character, and it's not necessarily, due to anything involving race. It's just from what I'm seeing with what they're how they're portraying the character. It just makes her feel like she's like nothing. She's immaterial. Um, looking up the list of trailers. Oh yeah, Insidious, The Red Door. Yeah, here we go. Another Insidious movie. Like, aren't there like 10 of those movies already? It's like one of those franchises where it feels like there's 10 of the 10 films, but I guess there actually isn't. But seriously, like just man, that's just rough. It's really just rough in terms of the way that that trailer looked. Just a rough looking trailer, looked bad, looked cheap, cheap jump scares, looked like it was rushed in terms of production just for nostalgia for Insidious. We're at the point now where people are nostalgic for the Insidious franchise. Hey there, Aragorn. Oh, thanks. Thanks for the super chat. Which would be worse, Indy 4 or Expendables 4? Hmm. Man, I mean, in terms of like damage to the franchise, probably Indy 4. I mean Indy 5. I mean Indy 4 I like. Are you talking about are you trying to say Indy 5? Because if you're saying Indy 5, then yeah, Indy 5. But Indy 4 I like, so definitely Expendables 4 if we're talking about that. Thoughts on the Transformers films? Thank you, opinionated junkie. Um, like I said, I haven't seen them in a long time. I saw the first three in the theater when they came out. I really liked the first one. I didn't really grow up with G1 or the animated show. I would say the Transformers show that I grew up with the most was Beast Wars, which is why I'm actually a little bit curious about the new Transformers movie just for, you know, Beast Wars nostalgia. But I liked it. I even liked the second one, even I liked the third one. But I rewatched them like years ago and remember them not holding up as well, but I still liked some elements of them. I would like to give them another watch. I like to check them out. I have them in 4K, so I'd like to check them out one of these days. Um, that's what I thought. I thought you meant Indy 5, but yeah, I think Indy 5 will be worse. Warner Brothers hasn't made a new Elm Street. Well, they haven't done a Friday the 13th because there's been some legal issues with Friday the 13th because of some lawsuit involving Sean S. Cunningham and this other writer. So I think all of that got clarified and cleared up recently. So we'll probably get another Friday the 13th in the next like couple years. I think there's going to be a TV show, like a prequel series from A24. I remember reading about that. In terms of Nightmare on Elm Street, um, yeah, I think they're definitely gonna it's gonna be one of those things where they're gonna try to do a Halloween 2018 with the Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, like Aiden mentioned, like Blumhouse, they want to make one, but they can't get Robert to do it, which is understandable because Robert should not be doing it anymore. He's too old. Um, and that's why I understand why Robert Englund wants a new actor to play Freddy. But in my opinion, Robert Englund is Freddy Krueger because of what his personal stamp on the character. We've already seen what another actor does when trying to play that iconic role with Jackie Earle Haley in the remake, and I think he failed. So just stop making Nightmare on Elm Street movies. How about that? Just stop. You know, Uh, that would be a good idea if you ask me. Yeah, yeah. Hollywood needs to get back to originality already. Yeah, stop doing remakes and reboots. Oh, thanks again, opinionated junkie. Eddie Murphy should have been an Expendables movie. I don't know about that. Depends on what Eddie Murphy you're talking about. If you're talking like prime Eddie Murphy from like the 80s and 90s, sure, that would have been fun. But like current Eddie Murphy, unless he's like doing something like straight out of Dolomite is my name, I don't know about that. I really don't. Yeah, Robert England, yeah, he said no. Robert said in an interview recently, I think he's doing a lot of interviews right now to promote the documentary about Robert England's life and career, which is I think it's streaming right now. I forgot the name of it. It's something in nightmares, like Hollywood Dreams and Nightmares. I think that's what it's called. And it's streaming on like Screambox or something, and it's coming out on Blu-ray in July. And I already pre-ordered a copy of it because I really want to see that because I'm a big fan of Robert Englund. And I just he's said in interviews that he's done. He's too old. He just flat out said it. I'm too old. I can't do it anymore. What's up, Gasly? Yeah, I'm glad Robert Englund doesn't want to do it either. Oh, hey, thanks, John. A lot of the 20th anniversary, I believe Finding Nemo to be overrated and terrible. Nemo is a brat, Marlin is an idiot, and Dory's annoying and obnoxious, but that's just me. I've always felt that Dory's annoying and obnoxious. When it comes to the other characters, it's been a while. I haven't really seen Finding Nemo in forever, so I don't really know what else to say. Um, Harrison Ford did that for Indy. Yeah, Harrison just said, "Hey, no, I can't do it. I'm too old." But I think Harrison is at the point in his career where he's getting so little like major film roles that I think he's just taking whatever he can get. And that's what's happening with like Indy 5. It's like, oh, I can be the star, I can be the lead in a movie again, I can massage my ego some more. That's it. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting from Harrison right now. And I think in large part it's because, Harrison is used to that. He's used to being like up front and center, being this big celebrity. Um, so I think that's a lot of way that's a reason why he's doing Indy 5. Um, yeah. 80s Eddie. Good point. There's 5 Insidious films. Well, 5 too many. Seriously. What if Brad Dourif started an Expendables movie? I don't know if he'd really fit in that kind of genre of film, but it might be interesting. I mean, he did an action sci-fi thriller mix in Death Machine, and he was good in that. It's gonna take a lot to be worse than Abraxas with its jazz music soundtrack and just all around awfulness. I have not seen that 90s show. I've heard about it. I saw the trailer. I didn't like it. Neopunk, I actually haven't seen the first one yet, so I can't really say a whole lot about it. Hey there, Bobby. Yeah, Harrison Ford came back because of his ego. Yeah, because of money and ego. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say Eddie was really an action star. Like he did some action films and I think he did a good job in them, like Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2 and Metro, but I wouldn't really consider Eddie an action star. Um Yeah, Insidious: The Red Door, no thanks. It just looks generic. It looks like a generic horror film. The same way I feel the same way about this new film coming out called Cobweb. It looks pretty generic too. Oh no, it's a kid who's having nightmares and is drawing creepy drawings, and there's people with glowing eyes and ghosts that show up, and there's all this other stuff, and it's just really just generic and boring. Hey there, Kentucky. Thanks. Thanks for the comment, and thanks for checking out the Dead Heat review. Yeah, I just posted that today, so if you're curious about my thoughts on that movie, check it out sometime after the stream. Yeah, I do. I feel he had a really good talent for deadpan comedy, and could have really been utilized better in other films, and other projects. No, I didn't see Raiders of the Lost Ark when it was released back in theaters. I did see it in 35 millimeter though, along with along with Temple of Doom and Last Crusade at a theater in Portland, Oregon. So I did technically see the film in the theater. I've actually seen it a couple times. I saw a digital stream of it in the theater one time locally in Vancouver, and then I also saw the 35 millimeter print. Going back to trailers here, there's a comedy coming out called Bottoms, which I like dark comedies in the vein of like Heathers and Jawbreaker. So it looks like something along those lines, but it's definitely not something I'm going to see in the theater. Really random bit of casting having Marshawn Lynch in there. Um, I'm a little worried though about it potentially being a little preachy, but it looks like it could be potentially fun. Speaking of fun, Sympathy for the Devil with with Nicolas Cage just being uncaged and unhinged. It's what if you made Collateral but with Nick Cage just being all cracked out and crazy. Thank you again, Opinionated Junkie. Coming to America was apology for his African portrayal and trading places. Well, you know what? Eddie should just apologize for coming to America now because it sucks so much. That was a pretty lame and poor apology, if you ask me. That's what you did. That's what you brought to the table. Eddie Murphy and Ghostbusters, I definitely think that could have worked. And Winston was going to have a lot more screen time if Eddie was in there. Um, yeah, Winston doesn't even show up until halfway through the movie, but that's in the version of the script that was put together after Eddie passed on the role. If Eddie did decide to do Ghostbusters, he would not have shown up halfway through the movie. Hey there, Angel of Darkness. Yeah, I'm having a pretty good day. Pretty good day. Day off from work and hanging out, just chatting. Deadfall. I I haven't seen the full film either, Deadfall. Um, but I definitely have seen that clip, and I love that clip from with Nick Cage. Nick Cage, his scenes in Deadfall are some of the funniest shit you will ever see. Like seriously, when he gets some free time, just go look up Nicolas Cage for Deadfall and just watch that. And it seems like he's kind of channeling a little bit of that in Sympathy for the Devil, which is why I definitely am gonna check that out sometime. I mean, it's Collateral, but with more Cage. Uh, Thank you, Bobby. Who would I like to see a God? Would I like to see a Godzilla movie where Godzilla became John Wick and kicks monsters' butts like Godzilla Final World Wars, but more of that? I mean, not him actually turning into John Wick, but that might be kind of fun to see a little bit more of that. Kind of more along the lines of Final Wars. Um, what's my thoughts on Ken Russell's The Devil? I actually haven't seen it yet. I do have a bootleg Blu-ray of that. Let me see if it's actually in this. Yep, right here. I have a bootleg of it. of the Devils. I still haven't seen it yet though. It's a really high quality bootleg. Like it's got special features and everything, different cuts of the film. But yeah, I haven't seen the Devils yet. Heard a lot about that about it though. It's like crazy controversial. What are my thoughts on Dante's Peak? Decent, fun disaster movie. What new ideas with horror franchises do you want to see and not see? Thanks, Night of Snake. And that's kind of difficult because that's a pretty open-ended question. Just start your own franchises again. Say what you want about Conjuring and stuff like that. At least they were doing something different and doing their own thing. Even something along the lines of The Purge. At least they were trying to do their own thing. I'd rather see like a sequel to something like Freaky, or another original sort of take on the slasher genre or horror film genre with different sort of takes and different spins that you haven't necessarily seen as much of. Um, I'd rather see stuff like that. Less of the sequels and reboots and remakes of already, well established franchises because you just want quick, reheated leftovers for the masses. Um, but that's just me. Um, hey there, Alex, movie collector, The Borrower. I'd be curious to be hear a little bit more about that production trouble of that company. I've seen the film before; it was pretty decent actually, but I just haven't seen it in a while. Yeah, Cobweb. Yeah, that trailer looked unbelievably generic and lame. What do I think is Uwe Boll's worst film? I haven't seen a lot of his films. I've stayed away from most of his movies for that reason. I would say out of the films that I've seen, probably House of the Dead, because it's just such an easy concept and he fucked it up so badly. Yeah, you could say the same for RoboCop. What are they gonna do next for the reboot? Is it just to make it for kids? Is it gonna be a toddler version of RoboCop? Robo toddler? No hard feelings. It looks bad. It doesn't look funny. And it's one of those things where if you swapped the genders of the main characters, it would be something that would get canceled immediately by everyone on the internet, which is pretty nuts to me that we're getting a film like that where you have an adult woman getting engaged sexually or getting in some sort of relationship with an underage boy. Um, Nick Cage, he does get too much hate. He's done some good roles. He won an Oscar for Leaving Las Vegas, and he's good in a lot of stuff. You could say whatever you want about him, but he's a very unique performer. He chooses a lot of different kind of projects. I thought he was great as Dracula and Renfield. A lot of fun in that. Big reason why Renfield is my favorite film that I've seen from 2023 so far is because of Nicolas Cage. And yeah, I really enjoyed Nick Cage in Willy's Wonderland as well. I loved him in Mandy. I grew up with Nick Cage and like The Rock and Raising Arizona. Thoughts on Vin Diesel now trying to beef with Jason Momoa. Vin Diesel just needs to take a fucking chill pill, smoke some pot or some shit. Not too much though. Doesn't want to wind up like Kevin Smith. Um, let's just see here. What are my thoughts on Marvel films being delayed due to the writer strike? Good, especially Blade, Butter Knife. Just delay that indefinitely till the end of time. Just keep it in development hell. We don't need a PG-13 Blade to begin with, starring the guy from Alita who sucked ass in that movie. Would I like to see a True Lies sequel in the 90s? Yeah, that would have been fun, but not now. That's for sure. Have you seen Fubar? Maybe. Maybe Ghastly? Like, if somebody requests it, I'll definitely check it out, that's for dang sure. Um, Alan Ormsby almost made the horror movie The Pool about a young boy who can't convince anyone there's a man-eating worm monster in the dream of the family. That's kind of a cool concept. That's another that ties into the discussion about what do you wanna see with new horror films. Like, take projects and scripts that never got made and make those. Do that. Do Shadow Company, the film that John Carpenter was gonna do, I think, but it never got made. Do that kinda stuff. Do this. Take this concept and make a movie out of that. Have I seen I actually haven't seen it yet, I've heard of it, though. Yeah, Jamie, I saw the trailer for that. I've seen and I was just not really that impressed with the trailer for that either. I mean, it's a seance possession movie. They've done a million of those. The only difference is it's this hand. And I'm just like, um, what do I think? I actually haven't seen it yet. I want to see it so badly, but I've never actually seen it yet. I've been trying to find it on DVD for the longest time, but it's out of print. Yeah, I wish Stuart Gordon made that movie too, The Shadow over Innsmouth. I mean, Zack Snyder, he's not the best, but I wouldn't necessarily say like he's one of the worst directors to me. He's definitely got a good talent for, working with the camera. I think he's definitely a better director than he is a writer, that's for sure. What are actors I like, but I don't have a good track record of filmography? Hmm. Hmm. That's an interesting question. I like Dan Aykroyd, but I mean, other than, Ghostbusters and maybe like a couple other movies and maybe The Great Outdoors, like he doesn't have the best track record or filmography if you really think about it. Um, Trying to think of anyone else. But yeah, Dan Aykroyd is definitely one of those actors that comes to mind. Yeah, Alex, I can't believe Ghost in the Machine isn't on Blu-ray yet either. Like I have the DVD, but that's one that I'm really surprised hasn't gotten released from one of these uh boutique labels. Blade 2 is badass. It's definitely one of my favorite Marvel movies too. Do I think there should be a third Conan movie? Um, Not right now. Maybe when Arnold was younger, sure, but not anymore. I definitely want to see Isobar. Do that. Oh yeah, Pincushion, and yeah, the Creature from Black Lagoon remake. Hey there, Opinionated Junkie. Yeah, thanks again. Horror icons. I know some people will say that we've got new ones in Art the Clown from Terrifier or Megan, and I wouldn't necessarily say that. I'm gonna save my thoughts for horror icons and stuff like that for an upcoming rant video on the death of the modern horror icon. Um, there already is there might be a Screen Actors Guild strike? Damn. And there's already a writing strike. That's crazy. Yeah, well, I think there was a John Carpenter film that he was gonna do. It was Meltdown, I think, that dealt with the nuclear power plant. Yeah, and Neil Punk. Yeah, that film is weird as hell. That is a strange film. But I still, I'm kind of a weird guy, so maybe that's why I still kind of enjoy that movie. You can say whatever you want about that film, but it's definitely unique. Yeah, I heard about Fighting Back. I'd like to pick up that Blu-ray sometime. Wall Street's a classic. Greed is good. Jedi the reason why Bad Taste and Dead Alive aren't on Blu-ray is because of Peter Jackson. That's the reason why. He keeps talking about some remaster or something that he's done or has in the works, and it never comes out. So that's the reason why. What's most ridiculous response I've heard is why just can't recommend someone which is good. Oh, the typical sort of stuff about how they're all elevated horror and you just don't get it. Even when I explain in detail about the themes and the subtext, at least when it comes to Midsummer and the Witch, um, they do the typical sort of thing where like, oh, why did you go back to watching your Michael Bay movies? It's like, um, I do enjoy some Michael Bay Bayham, but that doesn't mean that I'm not smart enough to understand the themes and the subtext of Midsummer and the Witch. And or whatever is there in Skinamarink. Skinamarink, the defenses I hear for that is just like people just inventing terms and terminology that never existed before just to defend that movie. Um, I do not buy those rumors at all. Don't. Don't buy it. Hey, it's okay, Monoval. Yeah, Cross the Spider Verse is decent. Pretty good. Yeah, Howard the Duck was the first Marvel movie. And you know what's interesting is the main reason why that got made is because George Lucas was such an enormous fan of Howard the Duck. And he had enough power and sway in Hollywood at the time to get a Howard the Duck film off the ground. And initially it was going to be animated like Heavy Metal, but then they realized it would cost way too much. So then they decided to pass on it being animated and then did it in live action. Oh, man, Crusade is one of the biggest missed opportunities to me when it comes to cinema. I think that film could have been epic and amazing, unlike anything that Arnold had really done before, and just a great way to send off Carlico. Like Carlico, passed on it because they felt it was going to cost them too much money, and they could make Cutthroat Island for less. But then there were a lot of just production problems and just budget overshoots when it comes to Cutthroat Island that caused the production budget to balloon to the amount of money it would have cost to make Crusade. So they should have just made Crusade. I can have some fun with Cutthroat Island at times, but I'd be totally fine with living in a world where there is no Cutthroat Island and we have Crusade instead. Ghastly. I did. I did pick up some stuff. Here's the thing: when you order from you order from the halfway to Black Friday sale. If you're not a subscriber, you're going to be down the list in terms of when you're going to get it shipped to you. So, since there are usually a lot of sales that happen during the time, it's going to take a bit. I ordered Roadhouse, Blade in the Dark, Invisible Maniac, and Night Screams. I'll probably get the Boogeyman later, like at the Black Friday during the Black Friday sale. There's far too many to list. Like I actually have a list of mine somewhere. Um, I'd have to take a look at it. That's something that would take me a while to think about. Hey, well, happy belated birthday, Ryan. Yeah, the writer strike, the Avatar sequels got pushed back. Yeah, yeah, that's a pretty long wait. That's for sure. But it's due to the writer strike, man. The writer strike is crazy. Toxic Crusaders live action. Trauma then sued. Interesting. Interesting. That would have been crazy. Who has the better filmography, New Line or TriStar? Depends on what we're talking about, which era of TriStar, which era of New Line. Um that's kind of difficult cuz New Line they have a lot of like classic cult films, horror movies, like Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff like that. And of course, they have the Lord of the Rings trilogy. TriStar, they have some other, under the radar classics that they released, like the Blob remake and other stuff that they released through Sony. Um, I'd give a slight edge to New Line Cinema because for many, many years they were an independent studio. Yeah, it does have a Region 1 Blu-ray. It's just out of print. Yeah, from Lionsgate. Did I know that Rush Hour was originally going to be done? Huh, no, probably would have been a lot worse because Disney would have gotten involved and tried to censor shit. Because that's what happened with Judge Dredd. It got censored by Disney. They wanted it to be PG-13, and what Danny Cannon shot was still too violent, so they cut it down. And even then, it was too violent for PG-13, so they had to settle for the R rating. And Disney didn't want that, which is crazy to me. It's Judge Dredd. Like, no wonder that movie has so many issues. I know, yeah, what was the subtext to Skinamarink? People are trying to argue that it's something about child abuse or something, or child abandonment or something along those lines. I don't know about that. Yeah, Ryan, I heard about that. Yeah, Jim Henson, he didn't necessarily want to do another Muppet movie at the time, but he really wanted to do The Dark Crystal. So that's why he did it. Yeah, I have. I have seen Hear No Evil. I've actually posted my review. I have a review of that on my channel. It's a pretty underrated thriller. Marley Matlin did a great job acting wise. There's a really cool scene where she's blaring a metal song. I forgot the name of it, but it's a really cool song. And DB Sweeney's also in it, and he's good. Do I miss Artisan Entertainment? Not really. I, I really don't. Carol Co. All right. Carla Co. Carol Co. Still the company with a big C. Yeah, that would have been a lot better. An PG-13 or R-rated Howard the Duck. But who is worse, Disney or A24? Disney. Disney's a monopoly. A24, I'm not super big on a lot of their films, but they're not a monopoly in the same way. The A24 is not going to censor a classic movie like The French Connection because somebody says some controversial things. And speaking of that, that's just ridiculous what's going on with that. And it's also ridiculous what's happening with the market with the French Connection on home video because of all of this. It's like now scalpers are getting in the act and they're just buying a shit ton of copies of the movie on Blu-ray and just selling them for like insane prices on eBay, and people are paying it. And that's the thing that is nuts to me. It's like, why? Why are you paying this price to these scalpers or these people who are just jacking up the price because of some controversy that will blow over in like a few months that most people will forget about? Like, it's not like the Blu-rays themselves are censored. It's like the same shit that happened when Disney Plus took off the episode of The Simpsons for season 3 that had Michael Jackson as a co-star, and then that caused the sets of season 3 of The Simpsons to just skyrocket in price, and people were just like jacking the price up on eBay. And that eventually blew over because people ultimately most not enough people were paying that price. So that's that's what happens. Um but yeah, I think that whole thing's just absurd all the way around. Yeah, I don't know if it got canceled or just got delayed. I have no idea what happened with that. I blame Peter Jackson again. I really do. Pirates actually isn't the first PG-13 Disney film. I think there's another one that they did before that. Pirates of the Caribbean is have I seen Paperboy? No, I haven't seen it yet. Heard about it though. Hollywood Pictures existed, because they had Touchstone, but I think with Hollywood, they wanted to I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. I think there might have been some sort of thing where they wanted to do more independent films or do the kind of films that they normally didn't necessarily do with Touchstone. Touchstone as a company was also even at the time starting to become a little bit I don't know. I guess a lot of people weren't really into it as much. So that's kind of why they started Hollywood Pictures. Horror movies everyone likes. A lot of A24 horror films. Like a lot of people love The Witch and Midsummer and Hereditary, and I think they're incredibly overrated and boring for the most part. I like Psycho, but I don't love it. I actually like the first. I like the second film better. I like Psycho 2 more. Yeah, it is gonna be more of a curious footnote in all honesty. I mean, to be fair, I mean Wesley Snipes for a certain point in his career was a pretty big star, so I think he was big enough. Michael Bowen doesn't ring a bell to me. You might have to like refresh my memory with that guy. Bill Paxton, yeah, it would have been nice, but I'm still okay with the career he ultimately had because it's very eclectic, very different. No, he was in films like Twister, but then he was also in stuff like Slipstream. Um, Bruce Campbell, I think he was as big of a star as he possibly could be. I mean, I love Bruce Campbell, but he's not like the best actor, master thespian by any means. He gets by on a lot of charisma, and he's turned that into pretty legendary career. I mean, not only just in film but in television. Dolph Lundgren, that one I definitely feel he got a raw deal. I think he definitely could have been a bigger star. Just didn't have the right agent, didn't have the right marketing or something. I don't know what happened. He was in Universal Soldier and that film was a huge hit and I think that should have catapulted him to, you know, doing bigger movies, but it never happened for whatever reason. And I don't get it. I mean, Dolph was every bit as talented or as charismatic or as good of a on-screen presence at the time as Steven Seagal and some of those other people. I actually haven't seen A Simple Plan yet. Do I think there should be Top Gun 3? I did like Top Gun Maverick, but I don't really know what they're gonna do with it. Is it just gonna be Rooster's movie? And if that's the case, like what story are you gonna tell that is even really gonna be even remotely needed? Or and I just felt like there was a lot of things that were wrapped up with Maverick that I don't really feel you really necessarily have much there to go any further. Exactly. I will give A24 this. There's a lot of films that I'm not super big on from them, but I loved Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's arguably my favorite film from last year. Um Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I can see why people don't like it, but I didn't mind it. Didn't love it, but I liked it okay for as a time waster. I thought the twist was clever and I thought the ending was hilarious. A good satire, good skewering of Gen Z culture. Saint Maud I liked too. So, yeah, I give them a lot of credit for at least branching out and trying to do some different stuff. Yeah, I heard about that. I'm not super big on turbulence, so I don't really know what else to say. Yeah, Dolph wasn't really that big of a star. He did Rocky 4 and then he did Master of the Universe and The Punisher never even got a theatrical release worldwide because of the fact that the company that made it ran out of money. I actually haven't seen Whiplash yet. Yeah, I do. I respect the courage to try something different too. But yeah, Men sucked. That was awful. I mean, I wasn't big on Hereditary, but I would say I definitely like that more than Men. 'Cause Men was just very one note and lazy. Like, men are sexist. Men are awful. Men are terrible. And other men perpetuate this cycle of men being bad. It's like, oh, okay, great. Um, but going back to the talking cinema stuff real quick, I got one more trailer I want to talk about because since we've talked a little bit about original filmmaking and ideas and cinema and stuff like that. I want to mention uh the the trailer for a film called They Cloned Tyrone. Apparently, this movie was on like the Hollywood blacklist in 2021 and 20 I think 2020 and 2021. And I really love that trailer. John Boyega's in it, Jamie Foxx, got a great cast. It's a black exploitation sci-fi comedy. So it's a very unique mix of different genres. It's definitely not like something that you've seen before, seen that much of, and it looks funny and it looks really entertaining. Like I am honestly really looking forward to it. That's probably one of the biggest surprises so far when it comes to like a trailer for a film that just came completely out of nowhere and really surprised me. I think it's a Netflix movie, so it's gonna come out on Netflix. And say whatever you want about Netflix, they're another company, kind of similar to A24, where they take risks. They do a lot of different sort of original programming, original shows, as well as like original films. They don't just always stick to, what's popular and, what's already established. So I give Netflix credit for that as well. Um, Yeah, I actually haven't seen Whiplash yet. I've heard a lot of good things about it though. Psycho remake or Virus. I mean, I'll take Virus. Virus is not a good movie, but it's a lot better than the Psycho remake. I mean, in some ways, it is a little too similar to the first, and I don't think it deserved a Best Picture nomination. I mean, I like the film, but it's definitely not Best Picture quality for me. Did I watch Needful Things? Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while, but I didn't mind it. I have it on Blu-ray. I know there's a 4K coming out from Kino Lorber. Speaking of upcoming, you know, Blu-ray 4K releases, might as well transition into that portion of the discussion. I'm on Dawn of the Discs, and they're mentioning Infinity Pool is getting a 4K. So if you actually did see that movie and you liked what you saw and you want to get a 4K of it, that's going to be coming out in August. Bad Biology, the Frank Henenlotter film, is getting a 4K release. Um, a limited edition, of course, because almost everything is nowadays. But yeah, Bad Biology. I actually haven't seen that one yet. I have it on Blu-ray, but haven't checked that one out yet. I don't want to pay a lot for a limited edition 4K set if I haven't seen the movie yet. Best Buy is doing some more Best Buy exclusives. They're doing one of Ender's Game. And honestly, it looks kind of good. Like the cover art, I like the slipcover. You could the slipcover is Ender's armor. You take off the slipcover, and then he's without his armor. And I actually liked Ender's Game. I never read the book, so I can't. I'm not gonna be one of those that's like, oh, it wasn't like the book, so it sucked. Um, but I liked the film. I even saw it in the theater, and I watched it again recently. I think like sometime last year, and I enjoyed it then too. I think it's a little underrated. It's not perfect, but As young adult films go, I think it's pretty solid. Best horror movie set in space, Alien, the original Alien. I mean, there's not much else that needs to be said. Um, Going down the list from Dawn of the Discs, you got Enter the Dragons getting a new 4K anniversary release from Warner Brothers. Wouldn't mind picking that up sometime. Cowboys and Aliens, which is a pretty fun movie, that is getting a 4K from Kino Lorber, which I'm really surprised by. Getting a 4K release, it's got a brand new HDR Dolby Vision master. I think that film could really benefit from that and look pretty cool. So I definitely would like to pick that up someday. Speaking of Kino Lorber, they're also releasing the film The Best of Times, the Robin Williams, Kurt Russell football drama comedy. Um, Looking forward to that too because I enjoy that movie. I think Robin and Kurt Russell are great together in that, and I like the idea of the movie, as unrealistic and silly as it is. About these grown men playing in an old football game again, and not having all of them like horribly injuring themselves during the game. But it's a fun movie, and it's been in dire need of a new release for years because it just has this old DVD that doesn't have the best transfer. So I'm looking forward to that. Um, I guess if you remember that action movie Two Guns, they're releasing a 4K of that. Um, for all you Two Guns fans, Last Dragon's getting a collectible steelbook. This is one thing I've started to notice about a lot of stuff happening with these films coming out on Blu-ray and 4K lately. Is that a lot of them are coming out on these like limited steelbook sets, and they're limited or they're exclusive only to a certain store like Best Buy or Target or something or some other place. And then they go out of print because scalpers buy up a shit ton of them. And then a lot of people wind up missing out. And I think that's kind of lame because, I mean, for instance, like what happened in Lawrence of Arabia, that got a steel book for Best Buy. It went out of print like super fast and it never got a re-release. And I think maybe it was included in one of the Sony sets, which that's another thing altogether. Like the Columbia Classics 4K sets, they're like almost $200, and that's the only way you can get certain films in 4K, like Taxi Driver and Stripes or SLC Punk. And I think that's a absolutely just annoying, awful fucking trend that Sony is doing with those fucking box sets. Just release those 4K separately. Honestly. Because the same amount of people, honestly, I feel they probably make more. I think they would make more sales with some of these individual 4K releases from these box sets if they just release them individually versus these big ass giant box sets that probably cost them a ton of money, and then they charge a crazy amount of money for them. But, that's just me. Best of Times, it is fun. It is a fun movie. Um, Rank these horror anthology shows. Ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. Kentucky bringing out the big guns here. The question. Okay, number one is of course Tales from the Crypt. I mean, it's the best horror anthology show out there. Um, Number two, Tales from the Dark Side. Um, Definitely a really solid horror anthology show. Um, After that, I think I'm actually gonna go with Friday the 13th series because I think that's pretty underrated. and I think the quality of the writing and some of the other aspects of it is definitely a little bit better than Monsters. Monsters is fun, so that's what, but it's definitely got some episodes that are very chintzy and low budget, even more so than Tales from the Dark Side. So I'd probably go with Monsters after that, and then I go with Freddy's Nightmares. But honestly, I want to throw in like The Hitchhiker. I think that's a very underrated horror just anthology show in general because it's not strictly horror, but a lot of the segments and a lot of the rest of cases, a lot of the episodes are horror related. And I would say after Tales from the Dark Side, like really, The Hitchhiker might be like the third best horror anthology show. I mean, not named, uh, Masters of Horror or stuff like that. Another pretty interesting, intriguing little horror anthology show is Dark Room. Lasted for like one season, but there's some good episodes of that as well. Uh yeah, Coma's getting a Blu-ray special edition. That's all right. Natural Born Killers, maybe, but it probably won't be from Scream Factory. Yeah, I locked in my pre-order on both from Disney Movie Club because it was a good deal. Looking forward to checking those out. 4K. Have I seen Fatal Attraction? A long time ago, but I haven't seen it in forever. I won't be ignored, Dan. Uh, have I seen The Temp? Not yet. I do have the DVD though, but I haven't seen the film yet. That's an interesting argument. I mean, maybe Expendables might have been really just better off as just a one-off. Really. Which do I like more, Atlantis or the Treasure Planet? I just haven't seen both in forever, so I can't really say for sure. I did pick up Treasure Planet on Blu-ray recently though, for pretty cheap. The Keep or Nightlife? I'm gonna go with The Keep. I do like Nightlife. It's fun. I think both films really deserve a Blu-ray. Um, The Keep is because Michael Mann is he's just a stickler. Well, stickler's putting it kind. He's a dickhead when it comes to that movie for some reason. He just keeps blocking releases, doesn't want anything to do with it. I chatted with a guy who worked for Second Sight or works for Second Sight. He doesn't it's not one of those things where he doesn't work there anymore. But yeah, he works for Second Sight, and I was asked about the key, but it's like, yeah, it's because of Michael Mann. Like Michael Mann just will not relent for whatever reason when it comes to that movie. And Nightlife, I heard, didn't get a release because of the fact that I think they either couldn't find the rights or it was one of those things where they are unable to find a print in good enough quality, or somebody was asking for some crazy amount of money for permission to release it. Um that seems like that's the answer for a lot of these movies that haven't got released on Blu-ray. It's somebody's asking too much money for permission for distribution rights, or or they can't find the print, or the other one is there's music rights issues, which is what prevented Werewolf the series from getting a DVD from Shout Factory back in the day. Yeah, I heard about it. It's nice to see Lizzie. I think it's Lizzie Kaplan. I think she's the lead in it, and I like her a lot. So it's nice to see her get work again, but I don't know. It's Fatal Attraction, the show. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that it looks like it's gonna underperform. I I don't even know where to begin. I don't have the space. I have a bunch of shelves that are pre-built that I've obtained over the years. Um I don't have the space for any homemade shelves. I guess maybe if I decided to build them instead of like all these totes, maybe, but That would take a lot of time and money and all that stuff that I don't really have right now. So I appreciate the thought though. Yeah, I wish Murder by Phone got a Blu-ray too. That'd be nice. Oh, Escape Plan? Yeah, I think you mean Escape Plan. Yeah, that definitely did not need to be a trilogy. Hey there, Psycho Hobo. The only interest people have for that Flash movie is Keaton. Yeah, yeah, and he's barely in it, which I'm not surprised with. Which just makes me think, just they should have done Batman Beyond. Really? Yeah, I wish they would have just this is what I wish they would have done. Just scrap the Flash entirely. I know it would have been a good chunk of change, but as soon as everything was happening with Ezra, just scrap the entire movie. Just take the tax write off or some shit, and just do the Batman Beyond film, and then have that come out this year or later, or next sometime next year, and like drop a trailer. And I guarantee that would have made more money. It would have made more money. Fans would have been more into it instead of this cash in, no way home bullshit or bull crap. So, yeah, no thanks. Oh, let me guess. Christopher Reeve. Seriously, they're gonna do an Egon with Christopher Reeve in the Flash? Man, if they do that shit, that's gonna piss me off. No cap. Um, Yeah, Disney, yeah, they removed some episodes of the Muppet Show. The only way to get some of them is like some like VHS rips that some people did online. Because there was an actor who was a co-host on one of the episodes, and he was busted years later for I think it was some yeah, it was some kind of a legal thing. Yeah, I don't know why Rampage hasn't been released either. Would I cast a Terry McGinnis? I always felt that Dylan O'Brien would be a good Terry McGinnis. Like maybe not now because maybe it might be considered a little bit too old. But I always felt that he would have been really good in the role. Um, would I like to see an unmade horror? Yeah, I would have loved to have seen Night Skies. Do I like Kevin Love? Depends. Do I like Kevin Love bullying me in high school and being an all around jackass? No, I don't. But I like Kevin Love more now as an adult because he's been outspoken about mental health and things like that. And I would say that I do like Kevin Love now, even though he was just totally terrible to me in high school. But I'm pretty sure you know as time has gone by, he's probably changed himself. At least I hope so. Um, But, I do like the fact that he was so outspoken about, mental health. That's a very important thing, and I don't think it's discussed enough nearly. And for somebody who's relatively high profile athlete to talk about that in such a capacity is something that I definitely do appreciate. Do live action gargoyles from Rick Baker. That would have been awesome. Why didn't we get that? Don't do Judge Dredd, do live action gargoyles with Rick Baker effects. I mean, I would hope it would be a proper farewell too, but it won't be. It'll just be some half-ass fucking bullshit cameo. The CGI will look weird and it'll be like Uncanny Valley. What do I think about the Nuggets winning the championship? Good for the Nuggets. I mean, the Denver Nuggets have never won an NBA title. It sucks that the Nuggets did it before the Blazers were able to do it again. But it is what it is. Nikola Jokic, I used to hate him and his elbows and just all of this other shit, but I really, really learned to appreciate him as a player and as a talent, especially once he took things more seriously and went to the gym and got in shape. Um, and that's paid off for him in a big way. Miles Teller could have pulled that off as well. Could have been okay. Yeah, Dark Backward, I have that on DVD. Weird movie. Really strange film with Bill Paxton. I think Judd Nelson's also in it. Hey there, Cornholio. Yeah, Waterworld's already been out in 4K though. It was released in 4K by Universal. And are you talking about like a new Arrow video release? If that's the case, like I don't really that doesn't matter to me. I have the Blu-ray. I'm fine with that. It has a 4K remaster. It looks amazing on my setup. I don't necessarily need a 4K of that. I'm getting kind of annoyed with that too. I really like the 4K format, but I'm getting kind of irritated by all these labels just re-releasing these films in 4K instead of releasing new releases of films that haven't gotten a release yet, to be honest. A new Flight of the Navigator? I remember hearing rumors about that. I think there was a rumor one time that was going to star the Jonas Brothers. I'm like, really? Thank God that didn't happen. It already has a 4K. I have the 4K of Dead and Buried. Um, what are my favorite Tales from the Crypt episodes? There's so many. I'll just try to list off some of them off the top of my head. For Crying Out Loud, I enjoy that one a lot because of Sam Kinison. Um, I think Lover Come Hack to Me is pretty underrated from season one because of Amanda Plummer. What's Cooking is a classic with Christopher Reeve and Meatloaf. Um, Split Personality with Joe Pesci. I love that whole scene where he's remarking to he's looking at the house and he's like, "What the fuck is this?" That whole scene that has become a meme, and I love it. I love that Joe Pesci bit from that episode has become a meme on the internet. It makes me crack up every time I keep seeing people use it. Um, yeah, I really like Split Personality. A lot of episodes from season 3 are just some of my all-time favorites. Undertaking Parlor, it's a great episode, which in a lot of ways is very much like a Monster Squad, Goonies kind of vibe, which I love. Um, Forever Ambergris is a good one with Steve Buscemi and Roger Daltrey with some just gruesome makeup effects. They're just really top notch. People who live in uh Brass Hearses. That's a fun one with Bill Paxton and Brad Dourif. Um, there's just so many great episodes. Dead Weight. Um, trying to think of some more. Yeah, Carrying Death with Kyle MacLachlan. Just love that show. Just so many classics. Of course, Cutting Cards with Lance Henriksen and Kevin Teige. Yeah, it is a great meme. What the fuck is this piece of shit? uh Yeah, it is sad about Treats passing. Yeah, it's it does show you that, life can end anytime. I don't remember Bone Chillers, but I do remember Goosebumps. I definitely remember that show. Jedi. Oh my god, this is killing me. This is hilarious. Now we're going full circle, folks. Now the final girl is problematic. Maybe, hey, this might be a good thing. Let's spread this. Let's spread this thought process and make it popular. So then we get more, male leads in the horror film genre again. Final girl is problematic. That's funny. That's hilarious. The main reason why the final girl became such a thing is because the women were so poorly utilized and showcased in the genre. So they changed things around and now gave center stage to female characters, and that's why the final girl exists. And now you got people be like, "Oh, the final girl is problematic." Oh man, that's classic. There's a lot of good episodes of Futurama. That is a fun episode. What's the next film coming out? We're looking forward to. That's tough. I mean, I really do want to see they clone Tyrone. I really like the trailer for that. But there's just a lot of stuff that like I don't really. I mean, there's that comedy Joy. I think it's Joyride. That looks like it could be fun, but not something I'd see in the theater. Mainly because I like the cast. Um, it's definitely not Dial of Destiny. The creator looks like it could have some potential. High concept sci-fi film. The blackening looks like fun. Looks like something that In Living Color might have made. Um, I'm just looking through Extraction 2. That definitely has some potential to be a good sequel. I actually am a little curious about the Barbie movie. More than honestly I ever thought I would be, mainly for the aesthetic and for Margot Robbie. Um, The Wrath of Becky, the sequel to Becky, I do want to see that. So that's kind of the ones that I could think of in terms of like the stuff that I've seen a trailer for anyway. Yeah, I saw that. I saw Jaws 2 is getting a 4K. Well, anytime Kentucky, that thanks for, supporting me for so long and staying on here despite the headaches that YouTube can cause too. I mean, Kentucky goes back a long way, folks. Never seen Freaky Links. Heard about it, never saw it. And USA Up All Night, I've only seen some clips on. Yeah, I know that's a different joyride, but yeah. Um, but yeah, I think I'll go back to Dawn of the Discs real quick. Mention a few more titles. Then I'm gonna probably showcase the other three Blu-rays that I have sitting here that I got from Ronin Flicks. And then I'm probably gonna end the stream. Probably gonna try to end it maybe at about 2 hours, maybe, or a little bit under that, because I got some stuff I wanna watch today. Uh, for requests in the future. Some John Candy movies. But yeah, speaking of comedies, speaking of that kind of vein of film, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That's getting a 4K finally. Uh, Looking forward to it. I do enjoy the movie. I have the Blu-ray, the Steelbook release. Um, Definitely something I want to get my hands on, but I'm okay with just having the regular Blu-ray, the regular 4K. I don't need the Steelbook. Matilda is getting a 4K, which is nice. I haven't seen that film in ages. That's one I do remember growing up with, Matilda. Would like to see that in 4K to be honest, but I'm not a fan of the Steelbook. I really don't like the cover art. It doesn't even have the title of the movie on it. It's just like some random photoshopped artwork, and the title isn't even on it on the cover. I really don't like the look of it, but I wouldn't mind getting it for the 4K disc of Matilda. North Dallas 40, a film that I did a review of that got no views, which I was not surprised by. That is getting a Blu-ray from North Dallas. From North Dallas, it's getting a 4K from Kino Lorber, and I'd like to pick that up because I did enjoy that one. A Muppet Man documentary about Jim Henson. That could be awesome. That could be great. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm a big fan of Jim Henson and, the Muppets. Grew up with the Muppets. Speaking of puppets, Ghoulies. Ghoulies is getting a 4K from MVD. They're also doing a new release of the second one. I am okay with just having the Scream Factory double feature. I don't need either one from MVD right now. Definitely not the first film in 4K. Like the second one's the only one that's any good to me. Like the first one sucks. I don't need that in 4K. My best friend is a vampire is getting released from Vestron. I'm really looking forward to that because I actually think that's a pretty underrated gem of a movie. If you like Teen Wolf, definitely check that one out sometime. Glad that people are going to be able to check it out more because it's going to get a Blu-ray like that. It's going to show up at Walmart. Um, Nightbreed's getting a 4K from Shout Factory for Scream Factory. I'm fine with just the Blu-ray set that I have. Um, Umbrella Entertainment is releasing a movie called Sky Pirates, which is a ripoff of Indiana Jones, and I'm curious about it because there's some interesting features on the in this release. There's a documentary. Okay, it's not a documentary, but it's a trailer reel that has like a bunch of like Indiana Jones clones. And out of all the Indiana Jones clones, other than like Alan Quartermain, uh, it looks promising. It looks like it could be fun. Yeah, I don't know what Jurassic. I mean Jurassic Park. I just saw Jurassic Park on one of the comments, so that's why I said that. I don't, yeah. Paramount is doing. That's what they're doing. Monoville. That's what Paramount is doing right now. They're releasing Blu-rays separately, and then only having the 4K have a digital and the 4K disc. And yeah, Jurassic Park has a 4K. It even has a 30th anniversary steelbook set that's coming out soon. It has a box set, which I do have. Which hold on, I probably get that real quick. I need to get drink drink anyway, so let me just grab that real quick. Okay. This is the 25th anniversary edition 4K set. There's been other sets that have been released since this, but I personally don't think there's been one that's looked this good, looks this cool. It's one of those book sets. It only has I think it only has the first. Does it have the first three films? Is that the only set? No, I think yeah, Jurassic World's in here too. So it's Jurassic World. So it has all the films up to Jurassic World and like a ton of special features. I have Dominion separately. But yeah, I really like this box set. I like the cover art, and I got a good deal on it, so I'm totally fine with just having that. I don't need the 30th anniversary steelbook. Um, hey, thanks, Bobby. I've never heard of the Plant Samurai guy. I don't know what to say, but sounds kind of cool. Talks about the kind of stuff that I enjoy and I like. I mean, maybe one of these days might talk about it. Monolith, yeah, would like to see that one get a release from some company. Kino Lorber would be perfect. A set that comes with a small dino statue. Yeah, That's cool, but like I really don't I don't need anything like that either. I mean, that's another thing, like all these sets that have like these little, you know, tchotchkes or little, just tiny little like porcelain, not just porcelain, but all these little things that just collect dust on your shelf and take up space. Like I'm not super big on that either. Yeah, I mean that would be cool. Like the closest, there was potential for 65 to be that, but they just made it PG-13 instead, and that film definitely could have benefited from being R-rated, if you ask me. As well as just some better writing. And just looking here about any upcoming releases, 4K or Blu-ray that I want to mention. I don't really see anything that I really want to talk about. Oh yeah, Dinosaur Attack. Would have made that after Mars Attacks. That would have been interesting. Yeah, I know. He wanted to make an R-rated Jurassic Park, and I think he had Kurt Russell in mind to play Dr. Alan Grant, which would have been cool. But yeah, I went through all the 4Ks in terms of upcoming releases on Dawn of the Discs. Don't really have much to say about any more releases. Midnight Hour, haven't seen it yet, but I do have the VHS. I do have the VHS of that one. And see here. Yeah, Dino Crisis. I don't know why they haven't made that movie yet. How to rank every James Cameron movie. Okay, this is difficult. This is hard because he's done a lot of great films. This is my list, and I know some people might find it a little controversial, but fuck it. Number one would be The Abyss for me. I love that film. It's probably might be the first film of his that I saw. I just think it's an absolutely spectacular film. I love that movie so much, and I'm really looking forward to the 4K if it ever does actually come out. And number two would be Aliens. Great sequel, some unbelievably iconic moments. One of the best sci-fi action movies ever made. I mean, sci-fi action horror films ever made. Um, then I would put the Terminator, the first one, because I think that's just a really good horror sci-fi thriller. Um, After that, I still put True Lies. I like T2. I do think that's a really good film, but honestly, I do like True Lies a little bit more. So I probably put True Lies. Um, then T2. Um, then probably Titanic. Maybe then Avatar, Way of Water. Um, and then the first Avatar, which I do like the first Avatar as well. To be honest, I really don't outright hate any of his films. I really don't. That's just me personally. I understand why people have a disdain for certain movies that he's done, but I really can't say that I hate a lot of the film or really anything that he's directed fully. No, I don't think it'll get a 4K. Maybe, but I highly doubt it. Yeah, that's one I could see coming a mile away. How much you want to bet they're gonna have a diverse cast this time? There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just how they handle it most of the time. It's just how they write these type of diverse casted movies nowadays, especially when it's a remake. That was that's nonsense. Nocturnal Fears is not and never existed. It might as well be fan fiction. Nocturnal Fears E22, it stems from Night Skies, which is a film that Steven Spielberg was going to do before ET, with Columbia Pictures, and it dealt with this family who lived on a farm, and these aliens crash landed, and it's more of like a darker, um, more suspenseful type of movie, kind of like Critters before Critters. And Rick Baker did effects for it that were revolutionary and one of a kind in terms of the puppet work and the makeup effects, and even did a design that was essentially ET, but like if just the bottom half of his face was uh was actually there, like if there was something, there was like an attachment on the bottom half of his face. If you look it up, like it's totally ET. Carlo Rambaldi should be given Rick Baker credit for his Oscar. Um, but yeah, Steven didn't like it. He changed his mind while he was shooting Raiders, and was talking with, I think it might have been his wife at the time. Was it Matheson? Melissa Matheson? I could be wrong. I thought it's somebody. He was speaking with somebody. It was Kathleen Kennedy. And they talked about, oh, we don't have like a cute alien movie, and then he came up with the idea of ET, and the rest is history. And he asked Rick Baker to do it, but Rick Baker said he couldn't do it because he was busy with American Werewolf in London. And then Steven Spielberg threw a hissy fit and just took all the prototypes and the art and everything and just stormed out of Rick Baker's shop, and even badmouthed Rick Baker on newspapers, talking about some failed ET prototype. And yeah, it's a crazy story. It really is. It's a crazy story, Nice Guys. One of my favorite stories though, when it comes to an unproduced, unmade film. And I actually spoke to Rick Baker in person and asked him about it, that whole thing. And he's he's still bitter. He's still upset. He's still he talked about it being like something that really definitely, you know, definitely hurt, because he put so much into that, and then for everything to just end the way that it did. Yeah, so, speaking of unmade movies, yeah. William Friedkin, yeah, The Executioner. I remember reading about that in a Starlog magazine, of all things. I know you probably just made a typo, but yeah, my name's Mike. It's cool. Every X-Men film, I haven't seen all of them. I haven't actually seen Dark Phoenix. So I would say out of the ones that I've seen, number 1 is X2, number 2 would be, Days of Future Past. I know some people definitely wouldn't agree with that. It's fine. Number 3 would be the first X-Men. Number 4 would be, X-Men 3. Number 5 would probably be, I guess, First Class, even though I really don't care for that one, but at least Kevin Bacon is good, and then Apocalypse. I might have missed one, but I haven't seen the New Mutants yet either, and I don't count Deadpool as an X-Men movie. Oh, Logan. So if I'm doing if I'm throwing Logan in there, that would actually be number 2 after, um actually no, Logan would be number 1. Logan would be number 1, and then X2 would be after that. Oh, that's interesting. They're only releasing the theatrical cut. That's the complete opposite of what they did with Nightbreed when they first released it. The Fly 3. Rennie Harlan. That's the first time I've ever heard of that. Not surprising since he was married to Gina Davis for a while. Yeah, it's actually pretty good. I think it's pretty good. I'm looking forward to seeing it in 4K. I wish I could say that. I do hate some of his films, definitely some of his more recent movies. But if we're talking about like the current Tim Burton, I would say the best thing he's done is, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I would actually recommend that one. It's a fun picture. Thanks again, Bobby. Oh, Killer Turtle movie? Killer Turtle movie? Tor. Huh. I would say it's an amazing film. I have the movie on VHS somewhere, but I would not necessarily call it amazing. Oh yeah, sure. That Legend that definitely applies to that film. That film's definitely style over substance. Great bit of style though. No, I don't know if he actually talked about that. He didn't talk about that as far as I know. Oh, yeah, Origins Wolverine, the Wolverine. Sorry, I forgot about those. You can't blame me though. Um, I would say man, X-Men Origins, that might be the worst one actually. That might be worse than Apocalypse. I don't know, it probably would be down in the bottom. The Wolverine I probably put in between like what is it first maybe above First Class. Still sucks though. I'm not a fan of it. Austin Powers 4. No, baby, no. Do I have the class of 1999 Blu-ray? Yep. Still need to watch it though. Yeah, the Outbreak sequel. Yeah, Fly Outbreak. I think I have like a scan of that somewhere. Extra. Um, weird ass movie. I'm not a super big fan of it, but I do admire the batshit insanity of it at times, and it can be entertaining for just for that reason alone. But I would say honestly, the best thing about Extra was like the little featurette, like behind the scenes stuff. Like there was a documentary on the old DVD where I think some of the people involved with the movie were just shitting on it and talking about behind the scenes stories that were just hilarious. That's the best thing about Extra and the trailer, which for whatever reason, like the trailer just always stuck with me because it seemed like even the trailer narrator wanted to get shit over with really quickly when he was talking about Extra, rated R. It's like we have a limited amount of time in the recording booth. Like, gotta get it out super quick. Robert England could be AI'd as Freddy. Please, no. No, that's not. No, I don't want AI Freddy either. What movies would I like to see get the Vestron treatment? Uh, um, to be honest, I would actually like to see a re-release of the Monster Squad. And the reason for that is because the Lionsgate Blu-ray it's out of print and it's got disc rot issues. A lot of Lionsgate Blu-rays from back then have had problems because of the materials that were used to make the discs. And I don't want the special features, even if they are legacy features, because the features are that good to just disappear. And I think the film could maybe use another transfer. And it was released by Vestron Video on VHS. Seems like just a no brainer to me. Maybe you could even throw in the Wolfman Scott Nard's documentary on there too to sweeten the pot. Maybe that could be Vestron's first like branch out 4K release where they charge like $20 for it instead of like their usual price. If not Vestron, then some other company because I think the Monster Squad deserves another release. Like uh, Arrow, that'd be cool. In terms of other stuff from Vestron, sometimes they come back double feature would be cool. I remember hearing a rumor about that, but it never actually happened. Maybe even a triple feature, like all of them, like all the sometimes that come back are movies in one set. Mr. Frost, I haven't seen that one yet. I have it on, I think it's Laserdisc or VHS. I have one of those. Trade paperback of Outbreak. I have the same one. It's an art read. In terms of the 2000 superhero films, which do you think is aged better as a better film? X Men. I think it's a better film than Spider Man. Spider Man, I could have some enjoyment with, but I can't stand Willem Dafoe's Goblin. I know a lot of people love him, but I really cannot stand his take on the Goblin. It's so obnoxious. It's Tommy Lee Jones Two Face levels bad to me. The itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. It's just bad. And it doesn't help either that, he looks like a Power Ranger villain. And then Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is kind of lame. Gets his ass kicked throughout much of the movie. The final fight between him and Goblin is so lackluster. He doesn't get barely any shots in, spends most of it just getting his butt handed to him. And yeah, the humor doesn't really age the best if you ask me either. So yeah, no, just mm. X-Men has its moments too, like, what happens to a toad when it gets struck by lightning? The same thing that happens to everything else. But there's still a lot of good things to like about it, and I think it's got some good social commentary that still works. Who do I think is better animation director, Ralph Bakshi or Don Bluth? Yeah, I'm gonna be the out of the box guy. I'm gonna say Ralph Bakshi. Don Bluth does a great job. He's an amazing director in his own right, but Bakshi just the rotoscoping stuff. It's a very unique kind of style. Um, I do not have all of them, Austin. I have the first four. That's it. I don't have any other ones, and honestly, I'm fine with that. I wouldn't mind getting H2O, but I don't want to buy the box set and pay a crazy amount of money just for H2O. Um, what film portrayed me the best? You know what, Matt? You might be upset, but I'm gonna say it's the 2003 film. Seriously. Well, I mean, to be honest, it's the only Daredevil film. I mean, the Netflix show is not a film. Other than that, you have the Trial of Incredible Hulk with Rex Smith, and I definitely don't think you were portrayed the best in that. So it's the 2003. I think it's 2003. The Daredevil film with Ben Affleck, who actually they did a good job playing Daredevil. I think that film's actually pretty decent. I like the theatrical cut. I think the director's cut is better, but I do like the theatrical cut too. No, I'm not gonna get that. I already mentioned I don't. I could care less because I'm not a fan of Ghoulies. Might get the sequel someday, but I'm okay with it. Not getting it. Um, Sound of Thunder. I'm not. I'm leaning on that film, and here's why. It ran out of money. They released an unfinished movie. The studio like went bankrupt during production, and it's just a mess. Like I give it a pass. I think they're pretty equal. I do. I think they're pretty equal. Who is worse? They're both really bad. Who is this guy? Get out of here. Fucking sorry about that. It's a fucking clone. I chimed in. I took care of it. It's a fucking fake ass clone. Be sure to put like sounds like a bot too. Stupid bot. Um, let's just see here. Which is a better film? House 4, Night Terrors. God, both of them are bad. I guess House 4 because I don't see a naked guy riding around on a horse in it. God. Oh, man. Damn. Damn. Ellen Heiser, cool. Thanks for stopping by. Shit. Oh, no, he didn't say anything wrong, but he's an impersonator, so 'cause I'm not in the chat commenting like that. Oh, I know they were combined in a comic, that's one thing, but, you know. Dude. CGI Christopher Reeve. What if they did DC movies again in the spirit of Christopher Reeve, Superman, Tim Burton, Batman movies? I mean, I would like to see that. Maybe that's what James Gunn's gonna try to do, but I mean, I hope if they're trying to do something like that, just still do your own thing. I don't want them to just try to do the same thing again. Even if they mean well, because we saw that happen with Superman Returns, and I don't feel that worked out that great. I mean, might as well print the CGI item, but exactly. Exactly. He's pretty old. He's pretty up there. But if it was Batman Beyond, then it would be fine because he's just playing Bruce Wayne. But man, CGI Christopher Reeve. Just what a load of fucking shit. But anyway, I'm probably gonna end the stream pretty soon. I got 3 more Blu-rays to show from Ronin Flicks real quick before I do so. The Mask of Red Death, some Edgar Allan Poe adaptation, loose adaptation. This one stars Frank Stallone. Um, then we have POW: The Escape with David Carradine, and then a 1980 horror comedy called Doctor Heckle and Mr. Hype with Oliver Reed, who's probably drunk off his ass for the majority of the production. Yeah, there's a lot of yeah. I didn't really hear of Mask of Red Death, the 80s version either until I saw it for sale. Honestly, it just looks like it could be, crazy fun. Herbert Lom is in it, who was in Phantom of the Opera, I think in the 60s version. And just look at this guy. It looks like a, Doctor Doom, low rent Doctor Doom knockoff. Doctor Disaster or some shit. Um Tom Cruise and Stephen King. There's CGI Chris Reeves, the Scorpion. Oh my god, it's Mummy Returns bad, The Rock level bad? Shit. What are my favorite forms of practical effects? Uh, a lot of those are definitely some of my favorites. Makeup special effects. I would say that's definitely my favorite practical effects work. Stuff like the work of Steve Johnson, Rick Baker, Chris Walas. Rick and Chris I actually met in person, which is just still honestly some of the most awesome uh experiences or moments of my life, really, just meeting those two. Um I've heard about that one. I haven't seen it yet though. Fucking bots. Bots going in just spamming political bullshit. Keep the politics out of here. Um anyway, I really don't have much else to say. I'm pretty much running out of energy anyway. Um I am probably going to call it a night. Thank you once again for joining me on this stream. Um check out my review of Dead Heat whenever you get the chance. It's up on the channel now. And got some stuff coming up. Some more paid requests. I got a discussion on RoboCop versus Terminator. Like, what if that film was made in the 90s? Like, what would my casting be? What would my idea be for it? Who would I have direct it? I'm looking forward to doing that. I think I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it "What If Cinema," like a new series, just to start discussing about stuff like that. What if scenarios? Like, what if there's a RoboCop versus Terminator movie, or what if there was an Alien versus Predator film that actually was based in the Dark Horse comics? Um, and no, I probably won't be doing that next. Maybe sometime in the future, though. Maybe in another stream someday. But got some paid requests. One of them's not really a paid request, but I want to do it anyway because it's the summer. So I'm going to talk about Summer Rental. Going to do a review of that John Candy film. Then I'm going to talk about Great Outdoors, and then I am going to. There's some other ones like She's Having a Baby. It was a request that I got, as well as Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the original film that started it all. And I got some other 2023 films that I've seen that I want to share my thoughts on, like Megan and Cocaine Bear and Evil Dead Rise and so on and so forth. So, yeah, don't really know what else to say except once again, thank you. Thanks everybody for joining me. And until next time, see you later. See ya.